The- So in a constructivist classroom environment provides opportunities for a student to question the material being presented. When whatever the material we presented in our class, the student will give some opportunities about the material so that they question about the material and explore more and more about the topic. Then if the question means they are getting interested toward the topic. The goal is to produce a democratic classroom environment that provided meaningful learning experience for autonomous learners. So, as we have already discussed about the differences between traditional classroom and the constructivist classroom, that earlier teacher will act as a dictator. They enter the classroom and whatever they taught, nobody will question. Then it was a type of dictatorship class. But in constructivist classroom, it is our duty to produce a democratic classroom in which each one share their views, their ideas, and each one will discuss about different topics, if arise questions, so that the topic will become more meaningful learning experience. Okay. Now, in a constructivist classroom, by contrast, the teacher and a student share responsibilities and decision making and demonstrate mutual respect. So, in a constructivist classroom, both the teacher and the student has think about their responsibility. They share their responsibility, their decision about different topic, different things, and they have some their mutual understanding, mutual respect between them. Now, the job of the constructivist teacher. What are the jobs of what are the work of the constructivist teacher? When the teacher must enter the classroom believing that all the students have different backgrounds from experiences and from cultural practices. Means when the teacher will enter, they will set their mind that all the students are not same. They have their own mental ability, they have their own background, they have their own culture, their own society, their own experience. So we have to develop some technique so that we mingle both the student with our learning in our learning process. The teacher has to meet the student at the current level, help them connect and expand to the material. So here the second job of the teacher is to interact with the student current level and help them to connect with them so that they expand their knowledge, their material, they take interest in their class. Taking those two factors into account, ensure that material will be meaningfully related to the student. Here, if we take these two factors, that first, if we believe that all the students are not same, they have on their own background, their own experience, their own culture. And second, if when we meet the student, we connect with them. So these two factors help the material will be meaningfully related to the student, and this will enhance interest in their learning process. Now, characteristics of constructivist teaching. So, in constructivist teaching, the the learner should be encouraged and accept student autonomy and initiative. Whatever the children learn, whatever the idea came their mind, we will have to develop encouragement programs. We will encourage them, and whatever the teacher students have their idea, we accept them their autonomy and their initiative. We encourage use raw data and primary information sources with manipulative, interactive, and physical material. Whatever the raw data and primary information we collect, we interact with them without physical material so that the learning process will be more effective. Use cognitive terminology such as classify, analyze, predict, create. So in our classroom, while assigning any task, any information, we will use some cognitive terminology like classify the material or analyze the process or predict the idea or create your own idea about different topics. This will enhance the learner to think on the different topic and gain knowledge and expand their learning process. Allow a student responses to drive lessons, shift instructional strategy, and alter content. Means here we must allow the student to take responsive nature about lessons and shift their instructional strategies and their content. Now, benefits of constructivism. The, the benefits are that when in constructivist classroom, children will learn more and enjoy more because they were actively involved rather than a passive learner. In traditional way of learning, the learner were passive. They will not interact, they will not actively involved in the learning process. But in constructivism, children will learn more by their active participation. Education works best when it concentrates on thinking and understanding rather than on rote memorizing. In traditional learning process, memorizing, it was based on memorizing things, but it was not the good way of education. Here in constructivism, education works best because it will create thinking and understanding in learner. So constructivism concentrates on learning and how to think and understand. Now, a strength of constructivism, first, it was also it is also the benefit of constructivism that children will be actively participated and learn more and more and enjoy learning process. Now, education works best when it concentrates on thinking and creativity. Constructivist learning is transferable. In constructivist classroom, students create organizing principles that they can take with them to other learning settings. In constructivist learning, it is transferable. They construct their idea, they share their idea, they create and organize their principles, and they set their own learning setting. Now, constructivist theories implications for teaching. In constructivist theory, according to constructivist theory, teaching is not simply the transmission of knowledge. It is not simply the transmission of knowledge, but it is to create learning environment that exploit the inconsistencies between learners' current knowledge and new learning. So here, the main constructivist theory is that simply that teaching is just not the transmission of knowledge, but teaching means you have to create the learning environment so that it will create inconsistency, contraction between the learner's knowledge and their new learning task. Now, a student have to apply what they know in order to build new knowledge. Now, the new learning in constructive theory, whatever the student learn, their new knowledge, they apply it to learning process and build their own learning knowledge. If new knowledge is to be constructed, then time is needed to construct it. So here, time should be given so that they construct new knowledge, new idea. What are the benefits of constructivism in teaching? There are some of the benefits given that first, the children or the learner will enjoy learning. They learn with their enjoyment, with fun, and they learn more and more. This will promote divergent thinking. in their mind. And education works best here in constructivism style of teaching, when it concentrates on thinking and understanding rather than on rote memorization. It will also boost the confidence among the learners. The learners will be self-confident when they encourage more and more in their learning process and develop their learning ideas. So this will build their confidence. So constructivism concentrates on how to think and understand. So constructivism develop our thinking and learning process. They develop our understanding process and promote collaborative learning. It will also promote collaborate learning. Constructivism gives students ownership of what they learn, since learning based on students. Earlier, in traditional style of learning, the student will learn through their whatever they taught or they just memorize. But in constructivism, students build their own knowledge. They are the owner of their own learning process. Since the learning was fully based on a student. Engaging the creative instinct develop a student ability to express knowledge to a variety of ways. So here in constructive learning, they were engaged in some creative works which develop their ability, their mental ability to express their knowledge through varieties of ways, through different ways. So constructivism promotes social and communication skills. Constructivism also promotes their social skills because constructivism is alone also or it is a social task also. So constructivism promotes their social and communication skills and by creating classroom environment that style. Here are the characteristics of constructivist teaching. According to Audrey Gray, the characteristics of constructivist teachings are: first, the learners are actively involved. Here, learners are actively participated in their learning process. The environment is democratic, where each learner gets the chance to develop their own learning skills by inquiring, investigating, by doing tasks with their teamwork. The constructive classroom became democratic and it will enhance learners' skill. The activities are interactive and student-centered. In constructive class the teaching, activity, whatever the activity, they are the interactive and student-centered. So in the activity, they are mainly focused on a student. A student will involve in more and more activities and they will develop their own learning. The teachers facilitate a process of learning in which students are encouraged to be responsible and autonomous. So here teachers, or we may say that the facilitator, they work as they give them some responsibilities, some tasks, so that they involve in their process of learning and they become more and more responsible and autonomous. Principles of constructivist teaching. What are the principles of constructivist teaching? Means pose problems that are or will be relevant to the student. Means what what are relevant to the student. So in constructivist teaching, teacher creates that kind of problem so that the learners engage in that problem and develop their own learning techniques and develop their own concept. A structured learning around essential concept. In each and every essential concept, there are some learning process, learning method, structure step by step so that they learn more and more. Strategy. The teacher has to work on mind, on the feeling of the child. We have to provide opportunity to the success of the child. Here, as we know that the constructivist teaching is fully based on student center. So here teacher will act as a psychologist to read the mind of the child and work according to them on the feeling of the child. We have to provide opportunity, and we should provide each and every student the opportunity so that they involve in their learning process and get success. Child rearing practices are very important. Here we nurture child. So in just like sheep rearing, where every sheep are given equal importance, a child also given, every children must be given equal importance so that everyone gets involved in the learning process. So the teacher's task is to train the pupil to perceive the object accurately to the mind. So first the teacher task is train. They train the pupil to perceive about the topic. They perceive, they create their own idea. We cannot neglect the imaging and initiative side of the child. This is important for promoting creativity in children. So whatever the idea or the images they develop in their child, in their mind, we cannot neglect it, but we will encourage to develop more and more ideas. So these are their when they initiate something, we will encourage them so that it will create creativity in the children. Implications of education, a constructivist teaching sequence. What are the implications of education in a constructivist teaching? It is just like a sequence. Elicitation of ideas in the next orientation, after that structuring of ideas, clarification and exchange, then exposed to conflict situations and construction of new ideas. So elicitation of ideas means whatever the ideas came in their mind, they will get the idea, then they orient it and structure the new idea with their old idea and then clarify and exchange their knowledge between them so that they get more and more information about the topic and create more and more learning process, learning ideas. And exposure to conflict situations. There may be some situation arises between the new ideas and their old ideas. So in this situation, they will construct a conflict so that they will, with their group discussion, they will conflict with the situation and develop their own idea. Construction of new ideas. Then after that, the new ideas will be constructed. Now next evaluation. After the construction of new ideas, the evaluation process start. In evaluation, we will give them some tasks or we will assign them some homework and some test so that we will evaluate whatever they learn and review changes in ideas and review whatever the changes came in their ideas. Now, there are some research that suggests that constructivist teaching is an effective way of teaching. It encourages active and meaningful learning and promotes responsibility and autonomy. So, research also says that constructivist teaching is the best way of teaching, it is the best way of education. It is the most effective way of teaching because it encourages activity, it encourages active participants of the learner, and it is also a meaningful learning process. And it also promotes responsibility and autonomy among the learner because constructivist teaching is beneficial in achieving desirable educational goal for students. So here, what is the goal of our student is to develop new ideas, develop their own learning skills. So in constructivist teaching, it is very beneficial for them because through constructivist teaching, they develop whatever the idea, they set their educational goal and achieve it. It is important for teacher to grow professionally towards a constructivist practice. So it is also important for the teacher to develop our mind through constructivist practice. We will set our classroom such that we will develop more and more constructivist activities. The teacher acts on the mind and conscience of the student in such a manner that they are able to unfold their hidden potential, including regard. So it must be set in our mind that the teachers act on mind. Here, teacher will act as a psychologist and read the mind of the student and conscience of the student in such a manner that they will unfold the hidden talent of the learner. They will unfold the hidden talent in the student so that the student will be active, will become active learner. Brighter side of the constructivism. Constructivism concentrate learning how to think and understand. So this is the first point. This is the first brighter side of the constructivism is that it develops our mind to think and develop understanding skills. Constructivist teacher develop skills, abilities to empower students. The constructivist teacher also develop their skill, their technical path, enhance their technical techniques by which and ability so that they empower students, they empower learners, and to make them feel competent and significant, and make them feel competent. They will compete with the other with their surroundings and significant. Constructivist teaching also requires intelligence, creativity, patience, responsiveness, and the ability to lead. So, a constructive teacher must have the following quality that they are intelligent, they are more and more creative, they have patience, they are responsive to the surrounding, to the teaching way, to the learning process, and the ability to adopt the learning process through constructivism style of teaching. Some of the tenets of constructivism is pedagogical theme are a student. Here are some of the examples given that students come to the class with an established worldview. For a student to change their worldview requires work. A student learn from each other as well as from the teacher. A student learn better by doing, allowing, and creating opportunities for all to promote new ideas. So here, when the students come, they have their own view about the world, about the society. They have their own idea. So when they came here, they have to change their idea. So for changing their idea, for their mindset, it requires some work. So from constructivist style of teaching, they learn different techniques by which they develop their more and more views, ideas, they change their ideas, and a student learn from each other as well as from teacher. So here a student not only learn from their teacher or from their books, but from their mutual understanding with the other students also. By sharing their ideas about any topic, they develop their own learning process. So with both, with from teachers and from students, a student will learn in constructivist teaching, in learning. A student learn better by doing, allowing, and creating opportunities for all to promote new ideas. Here, a student learn better by doing some activities, by allowing and creating opportunities for them for to promote new ideas. Now the conclusion. So after all these things, now I would like to conclude my topic. Constructivism is that constructivist teaching foster critical thinking, and create active and motivated learning. Here, constructivist teaching creates critical thinking style and create active and motivate learners. They become motivated learners. And constructivist approach free teachers to make decisions. So constructivist also approach teachers to make decisions. Constructivist teaching and learning is beautiful experience. So constructivist teaching and as well as learning, these all are beautiful experience if it is done in right attitude and happy mind. When we done it with our full dedication, with our right attitude, it will create a beautiful experience for both the learner and for both teachers also. So this is how I have concluded my topic. Now, thank to all of you for listening me. Thank you very much. Once again, I am sharing my slide. So if anyone wants to copy, then copy it and attendance will be given after that. Okay. Constructivism, learning, communicate with each other and share their understanding, feeling, knowledge, and experience to come up with new knowledge. The teacher becomes the facilitator and the learner encouraged to interact, exchange views, experience, and co-construct meaning and knowledge that is based on their needs. This is my first slide. After that, constructivism in teaching. It is the introductory part of the constructivism. We here the 21st century classroom is fully filled with the constructivist idea with a vibrant assortment of learners. Students come from different types of socioeconomic background with culturally experienced and learning style. These dynamic creative challenge teachers. Teaching most always be adjusted to the level of pupil and constructive way of teaching be promoted in the classroom. Second slide. Now, meaning of constructivism. Constructivism meaning here given constructivism is rather a heterogeneous idea. We invent our own concept and idea and link to what we already know. This meaning making theory of learning is called constructivism. Here, knowledge is constructed, learners through an active participant, mental process development, learners are builders and reactors of meaning to society. Here, definitions are given according to Brader, RJ, and Jones. Constructivism can be defined as the idea that development of understanding requires the learner to actively engage in meaning making. It's third. And now next slide. Varieties of constructivism. There are three varieties of constructivism: educational constructivism, philosophical constructivism, sociological constructivism. Now, introduction of constructivism in teaching. Constructivism teaching is based on the belief that learners occur as learners are actively involved in the process of meaning and knowledge construction. Learners are the makers of meaning and knowledge. Constructivism teaching fosters critical thinking and creates motivate and independent learner. Next slide. Given Piaget explained that about the constructivism that we accommodate the new information to our old way of thinking by restructuring our present knowledge to a higher level of thinking. So constructivist teaching depends upon the learner's level or cognitive. These are of four stages. Sensory motor stage is between 0 to 2 years. Pre-operational stage between 2 to 7 years. Concrete operational stage between 7 to 11 years. Formal operational stage between 12 to 15 years. The principle of constructivism. In first principle, knowledge is actively constructed by the individual. Learning is both an individual and a social process. Learning is a self-regulated process. Learning is an organizational process. Reality represents an interpretation. Learning is a socially situated activity. Language plays an important role, essential role in learning, and motivation is a key component in learning. Thank you, everyone.